Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation to the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in the Western Hemisphere and to the rest scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth who look like the other nations, but through the patrilineal lineage go back to the Hebrew Israelites. Shalom. Okay, and this is my take on the movie Civil War that just came out this weekend. I went to see it, and it's just my little take on it. It had its moments where you might say, by the way, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, go see it because I want to talk about certain parts in the movie and I don't want to ruin it for you if you have plans on going to see it. Okay, so like I said, it was an overall pretty decent movie, but it had certain scenes that was kind of questionable. One in particular is when they went into this store and this young lady right here that you see on the screen right here, she, was looking to purchase something, or how should I say, influence the other lady to purchase something, particularly a dress, because the other lady had been so much in this masculine energy for so long that she didn't know how to wear a dress or she wasn't comfortable with that dress. And when she put that dress on, it's like she, lowered her guard or dropped her guard. And for that moment, she was in her feminine, natural beauty. Okay. And this lady right here, she said a smart remark or something that could be, borderline, how should I say it without being, offensive to the point where they might, strike this channel. But she said something on the borderline that could be, deemed same gender. Okay. Now she said when the lady that I'm talking about put on the dress, the other photographer that was, used to wearing pants and masculine, stuff, those things that a man would wear. This young lady right here said, well, you look good or you look sweet or something like that in this picture, stating somewhere along the lines that, this picture that she was taking of her in her feminine, energy, she looked good. And she said it in such a manner, whereas, if she was taking a picture that she was thinking about, while taking that picture of her actually, making, making love with her. Okay. And then the other photographer, which was a guy, when he came with his hat on and asked this young lady right here to take a picture, she said no. Okay. Showing you just have to see that scene, showing you that, they was trying to convey a connection between the two women. Okay. Once the older woman who was a seasoned photographer lowered her guard and took off the pants and the shirt and put on this dress, this younger woman right here, she was enamored with that, photo, because she is a aspiring photographer, and the older lady was someone that she looked up to. Okay. Long story short, because of the incidents that took place in the beginning of the movie, she was put in the same scene with the older woman that she, looked up to when she was coming up, and now through, certain incidents, they are, tied together all the way up until the end. Okay. Now, like I said, this girl right here that you see on the screen that's yelling, her name is Jessie. Okay. And she was trying to convey the message, or should I say Hollywood was trying to convey the message of, the same gender, sexual energy, if you can, through the, image of photograph or photographer. Okay. But getting back to the point, this girl right here, or should I say a young lady, her name is Jessie. Okay. And throughout the journey, I kind of paid particular attention to this character right here named Jessie. Okay, now it started off, you know, she was she was inspiring to get that image that, when you see the movie, they're going to show where there's, chaos going on, and she is trying to get a good picture as a amateur photographer, and she get hit in the face with something, and then the older photographer, comes to her rescue, and that's when they, build that connection, okay? And through that connection, they continue to go on throughout the movie, okay? Now, her character, transforms throughout the movie. Speaking of this young lady right here, Jessie, okay? And I look at Jessie, as representing, Israel, okay? Although, this is a woman or young lady, we know Israel is likened unto a woman as well. And Jesse being the father of King David, that's where the house of David is coming from, okay? So the transformation that this, young lady took on her way to her ultimate, photo that she was looking to, achieve, that can be likened to, the elect, okay? Because why? We started off, as sinners, not knowing the truth, but then as we, grew and became that, ultimate, individual that we looking to obtain, we are growing in this truth, okay? Just like, she went through certain things and she was protected as well, okay? Because there was one incident when they went into town and they got chased by these two guys that were in army uniforms. They was getting ready to execute them, okay? And one of the guys that was dressed in a US military uniform was asking everybody, what part of America are you from? Okay? Showing that there's going to be sedition amongst men when all hell breaks loose here in, Babylon the Great. And depending on what side of the fence that you on, it could determine whether or not, you make it or not. Because there was two individuals that was with this group right here that didn't make it out because they were from a different state and another one was from a different country. But the ones that those two individuals inside of the U.S. military uniforms allowed to live for the time being was those that were of what you would call a red state. I believe one said that they were from Florida. The other one said that he was from Texas, and the woman said that she was from Colorado. But then there were two more, and one said that he was from Hong Kong, and they, executed him on sight. Okay. Now, when they was getting ready to, execute Jesse right here, there was an intervention of an older man who I guess you can say was playing the, how Hollywood do it, that was playing the, reason, okay, the voice of reason, which you could look at as, the Most High. But, I'm not saying that he was the Most High, but the way they had it set up as if he was playing the voice of reasoning. Okay, it's almost like the older guy was the voice of reasoning. The older woman, I guess she was, you can say the comforter or whatever. And I guess the other dude, because it was four of them. It was the older guy. It was the older guy. Like I said, go see the movie if you haven't seen it. And then it was a younger guy. And then it was the older female. And then it was Jessie, this young lady right here. So I guess the older guy, he was playing the voice of reasoning, as the father figure. And then you had the, the other woman. I think that woman that I'm talking about, she played in the original Spider-Man, okay, with Tobey Maguire. So she was playing the seasoned photographer that this young lady right here was looking up to. And then you had the other guy, okay? But like I said, the older guy, you're gonna see him if you see the movie. The heavy set guy. He played in a couple movies too, if I'm not mistaken. He played in that Purge movie. Okay, but like I'm saying, he could have been, seen as the voice of reasoning, almost like the Most High. Okay, and there came this incident that I was talking about, where they were executing, or they were getting ready to execute, this group, because they came up on them when they was burying, bodies that they had already executed, but they weren't sure. So this guy that I was talking about in the group of the four, not the older guy, but the next guy up, he told them, speaking to the two military guys the two guys that were dressed in military uniform, because I'm not sure if they were, actually military or not. But the guy told them, he said, "We are Americans." And then one of the guys in the U.S. military uniform said, "Okay, what kind of Americans?" Showing you that what? There was sedition amongst these, different individuals, these Americans. Excuse me, Slakia. Showing you that there's going to be division, right down the middle when all hell breaks loose, okay? So, like I was saying, the guy said that he was from, I believe, Florida, and he said, okay, insinuating that, okay, Florida is what we're looking for. We're looking for these type of Americans, okay? Meaning that we're not going to, execute, and everything was going okay. And then the lady, which I believe, the one that played in the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, she said she was from Colorado, okay? Now, the old man who I said you can liken almost into like a, figure. I don't want to call him the Most High, but you can liken him into the figure like that. He stayed behind because of his health, okay? So the other three went down to check to see why, they were, what was all these bodies about, okay? And one of the guys in the military uniforms, he was getting ready to execute Jesse, which is this girl you see on the screen, and another guy that tagged along with him on the way there, okay? Now, this guy, he was, I believe, of Asian Orient. So, he told him that he was from Hong Kong, and they executed him on sight, okay? Now, for the other ones, they said, they came from these red states, these Republican states, so they was able to, foresee and not get executed for the time being, okay? But once they executed the guy who said he was from Hong Kong, which was a friend of the four people that were traveling together, because this is all based on a journalist, taking pictures of the country as it, spirals out of control and go into war. So they was all trying to get to the president, and get that ultimate, photograph, okay? Because all hell was breaking loose throughout the whole country, man. You had, seditions in each part of the country as they was going to, Washington, D.C., okay? And through each major checkpoint showing you that they had checkpoints, okay? You had to have your credentials, okay? And they had to have what did they have? They had a press badge, okay? They showed them a press badge and they was allowed to go through to the next town, okay? But that press badge is going, eventually it's going to be that mark, okay? You're going to have that mark in order to go into, a town. And it says that in the Apocrypha, and we're going to get that, okay? So back to this lady, Jessie, right here. So she was getting ready because the guy that she was with, he freaked out when the Asian dude got, his head, mashed in, okay? And when he freaked out, one of the guys, that I said it was two guys, one of the guys that was dressed in a U.S. military uniform with the firearm, he said, forget it, okay? Although you from a Republican state, you taking up for this guy right here that's from Hong Kong. Okay, showing your allegiance that you're not really, with the red state, the Republican state. So he got ready to execute them all. Okay, and then the older guy, who I said was playing the voice of wisdom or reasoning, that you can liken to, or you can say is like the Most High, he stayed back behind, okay, and he got inside the truck that they was driving, and he what? He ran over the guy that was dressed in the military uniform right before he was finna execute Jesse, okay? Showing you that what? That the intervention between Jesse, she was finna get shot, and executed right after they executed the Asian guy. It didn't happen, okay? Showing you that what? The Most High is going to keep us through certain times when it looks like we about to, it's going to look like there's no hope. Okay, but you got to continue to have hope. You got to continue to have faith because you never know what's going to happen. Okay, and not saying this guy is the Most High. I'm just trying to show you how, being of the elect, from the house of David, we're going to go through certain things where it's going to look like, there's no chance that we're going to get out. But there's going to be a intervention, from on above, from on high. The Most High is going to send down, his angels, and they're going to keep us in camp, okay? They're going to encamp us around us to make sure that we don't get hurt. We just have to keep our faith, okay? It's going to be situations where we get to like, you're going to have to have faith, okay? Don't doubt it, okay? Because you're going to have faith, man. We're going to go through situations where it's going to seem like there's no way out, okay? Like they got us cornered. But you never know. The Most High is going to work something out for us, okay? And that's what I said. This girl, Jessie, okay, she transforms throughout the movie, all right? Just like we, when we came into the truth, before we came into the truth, we were sinners, okay? Just like when I brought up the dress incident, I looked at that as her being a sinner, because why? In the sense that she was trying to insinuate, same gender on gender with that picture photography that she was taking of that other lady. As the movie went on, she also got numb to the sense of, seeing unalive bodies around her. Because, okay, like I said, spoiler alert, the guy that came through with the truck, the older man who I said is the voice of reasoning, one of the other military guys that I told you, it was two of them in military uniforms, one of them was able to get away, and he fired off and hit the older guy, and he eventually, didn't make it, okay? And that freaked Jessie out for the first time. She was up close and personal with death, okay? And we're going to see a lot of things, when this system collapsed that, it's going to shake, it's going to rock your foundation if you're not rooted in this truth, okay? But as this movie goes on, she becomes numb to the fact that she sees these dead bodies falling all around her as she's taking her pictures, becoming more and more better as a photographer. That's like us in this truth. We're going to come more and more better and proficient in it, okay? Being tried like gold through fire, okay? Getting out all the impurities until we make it to the end. And the end for her was getting to, the White House with the president to take that ultimate picture, okay? So as she would go and as they would go, for the rest of their journey leading up into the Capitol, she would see more and more bodies drop, okay? And not only that, but, she was getting better at her craft, okay? Showing you that we're going to have to work on ourselves, okay? As, all hell breaks loose through Jacob's trouble, we're going to have to continue to work on our faith, man. That's our craft, having faith, okay? We can't, flip out and bug out, over what we're going to see, because we're going to see, death all around us, man. We're going to see bodies dropping left and right, but it's not going to touch us, okay? So as the movie goes on, like I said, they go through different states and towns leading up into their ultimate, and leading up into their ultimate place. But, each town that they go through, they have to go through some sort of checkpoint, okay? Now there was one town that they went through that I guess you can liken it into like a detention center where they had to stop by and, show proof, show their press badges, and then they were able to, get food and, recover and recuperate from their journey that they had been going through so far. Okay. And in this particular town, this section that they went through, it was little children, women, of that magnitude, eating, food, getting taken care of, showing you that, these detention centers, they're going to be taking care of the little ones. But those people had to show proper identification in order to receive that food, showing you that, once all hell breaks loose, in order for you to get food and to be taken care of, speaking particularly of these women and these small children, they're going to have that mark as well, man. Okay. Plain and simple. Okay. Now you had a few men in there, but for the most part, it was mostly, young children running around and women, gossiping and talking and things of that magnitude. Okay. So, this just shows you this movie, you can look at it, from one or two ways. Okay. You can look at it from what it is, or you can look at it in a spiritual eye. Okay. Because like I said, although Hollywood tried to make it in certain situations, somewhat, or not somewhat, but how Hollywood do it. They sneak in a little, ideologies, same gender on gender type of things. But you also can find, the things in it that you can, take away from it. Okay. And another thing that you could take away from it, in one of the towns that they stopped in, they was looking to fuel up and get gas. They was looking to fuel up and get gas, and they stopped in this gas station, and there was these three guys sitting outside that they were armed to the T. Okay, and they asked them they asked them why did they come here, and they said for gas. And this was the part that I got taken by, that they had half a tank of gas, but they said they have to stop whenever the opportunity presents itself to keep, gas inside the vehicle that they was traveling in. And they had a half a tank of gas, and just to fill it up, they was willing to pay $300. Okay. Now I guess they said Canadian dollars because the US dollar, they didn't want to take that US dollar. But when they said 300 Canadian dollars, they was okay with that, showing you that, this US dollar, it's on its way out the door, man. People are not going to, accept this form of currency much more longer, all right? So they didn't even want to take the money from, they didn't even want to take the US dollar anymore as opposed to the Canadian dollar, okay? They wanted to take 300 Canadian dollars, and then they was allowed to, fuel up their tank. But when they said 300, they thought they was talking about US dollars. They're like, no, I can't even get, a candy bar for that. So that's... Man, that shows you $300 and they couldn't even buy a candy bar. So that shows you that, this dollar's a wrap. It's finished, man. So, going on and not trying to make a long story short, but trying to get to the end, picking up on this individual character right here named Jesse, so she gets to the end, and the whole thing was to ask the president a certain question that they could, make good for their news article, because they said that they was working for Reuters or something like that. And I guess the whole thing was that the WF, like I said, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, go see it. The Western Force, their agenda was to take the president out. Okay. Because his service was no longer needed, showing you that he had already caused division amongst the nation. So the Western Force, which you can almost liken to like the central banks, they didn't need the president anymore, so they was sending out task force to take the president out. Okay, and the journalists, they wanted to get to the president and ask him a question before then. All right, but the older journalist, the woman who played Spider-Man's girlfriend, Mary Jane, and the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, she got taken out. and how did she get taken out? Because she was the one that was going to ask the president the question to get that, on record. How did she get taken out? By protecting Jesse, okay? And Jesse ultimately got to take the picture, the image of the president when he got taken out, okay? Showing you that this character Jesse, like I said, Jesse is the father of King David, and the house of David is the elect. You know, she, and Israel is likened unto a lady. Jesse was protected all the way up until she got that image, of the president getting taken out. Okay, and we're going to be taken care of all the way up until the end of this place getting, annihilated. Okay, and then the chariots are going to come and take us up out of here. All right. So, like I said, this movie, this is my take on it. It was okay. It was pretty decent. Okay, but you just have to be, mindful of some of the things that Hollywood try to slip in. But you can take, you could get an overall decent image of the movie if you know what to look for. Okay, in the spirit. All right, so let's get a few precepts and let's go from there. This is 2 Corinthians 13:8, and it reads, "For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth." So although they try to slip in there, their ways to be subtle about, slipping in same gender on gender type of, nonsense, we still was able to extrapolate, the meat off the bones, man, because this was spiritual, okay? And we're going to get precepts going into it because there's going to be sedition in different towns, okay? And unless you have that mark, you're not going to be able to get in. So when your town is not getting, food that's coming into the stores because it says the storehouses should be empty, and you want to go into another town that has food, you're not going to be able to go in unless you have the, correct credentials, okay? And like they had to show their press passes, you're going to have to show that mark, okay? So it says, "For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth." So even though if they just thought it was showing you, how America is going to be divided against itself, we were still able to extrapolate, certain things out of this movie that backs up what the truth says. So it says, "For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth." Okay? And this is, let's go to, is it Mark? Is it Mark that I'm looking for? Is it Matthew? So it was Mark. Okay, this is Mark 3:25. And let's jump up 24. It says, "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand." Okay? And that's what you see throughout this movie. Okay? You see division. Okay? Whether you are an American, but what type of American are you? Okay? And these towns, they were destroyed. Although it was one town that, seemed like it had nothing to do, like it hadn't been affected by it. If you didn't know no better, you would think, that this town, it seemed like it was the only town that wasn't affected throughout the whole, scenario that was going on throughout America. But then when you look up on the rooftops, you see they got, people armed with, military style firearms, showing you that even in the towns that seem like it's normal, it's not normal, okay? Because they're trying to protect a little bit, what they got, okay? So it says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, okay? Showing you that, this place is pretty much a wrap, all right? It's finished, okay? Because why? You see right now, one of the biggest, talking points that, probably going to be used in this upcoming election is, the illegal, undocumented, migrants, okay? That's probably going to be a major talking point in the elections, okay? And also what? This economy, the high inflation, people complaining about how they can't pay their rent, interest rates are too high. They don't have enough, to buy the essentials, the necessities, the food, water, shelter. They can't buy it, okay? This place that we are in right now, America is primed for division, okay? It's primed for civil unrest, okay? And it very much well can pop off this year leading up into the election. We praying that the Most High brings forth judgment, okay, to this place, and he allows it to take place, okay? So it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, right? So these houses, the Republican and the Democrat, they're going against each other and they're not going to stand. And in result, this place, this economy is going to taint, it's going to fall, and it's going to allow things to spiral out of control, which is going to be what? All the more, for them to bring forth that mark. They're gonna want this place to get out of control, okay? Where they could bring the solution, order out of chaos, okay? Allow it to spiral out of control and then have the answer on the back end, okay? And you could see it in that movie, okay? It wasn't going to be anything but that mark that was going to allow things to get back to normal, or so they believe, okay? So it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, right? So America is finished, man, and that's what, because the vice president, to the president, she was trying to, make a deal with the Western force when they came in to say, okay, we'll give you the president, but he wants to make a contract that you won't harm him, okay? And, Eve, the black lady, she said, no, the hell with it. And she shot the vice president, okay? Showing you that this place is finished, man. And then they went in to the president and took the president, okay? Showing you that what? Hey, these central bankers, they don't have any use for America anymore, man. The cat's out the bag. The truth is out. They don't have anything left for this country, okay? There's nothing left that the central bankers could use this country for. It was at one point that, this country, it was, it could have been based on the fact that, it's a God-fearing country. But now the cat's out the bag. We already know that's not true, okay? You got a bunch of transformers, and then on top of that, you got them going to, schools, teaching these things to, the children. And then you got children being able to, chop off their body parts. This place is finished. Iniquity has reached to the heavens, man. And Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is getting ready to come judge this place. All right? Now this is Isaiah Slakia 19. And let's go to 2. It says, let's go to 1. It says, a burden of Egypt. Behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Those are Americans versus Americans, okay? It says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. And you were seeing it, and you could bet in those towns that, these journalists was going through, they had different individuals, although they could have been from the same family, but they had different views, okay? So it says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. We read it in Mark 3 and 25, 24, 25. It says, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So division, sedition, okay? This place is done for. It's a wrap, all right? It says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsels thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. Okay? So the spirit of Egypt is that mirth, that good time, that's soon coming to an end, man. Things for the start to really, things for the start to really heat up here in America, okay? Because America is likened unto Egypt, spiritual Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah. So it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. All that mirth, let's go out and have a good time, that's all coming to an end. Okay, all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man, because we can't get out of this place until this place falls. Our deliverance is based on this kingdom collapse, okay? So it says, verse 4, and the Egyptians will give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh hosts. Right. And we got who we got right now as the leader of the free world. That's Sleepy Joe. Okay. Now here it is. He's threatened, he's making threats to Iran if they retaliate for what Israel did to their counselor, that he's going, they're going to have to pay, they're going to have to pay the consequence. Now Iran just sent 300 drone missiles, over to Israel, as a retaliation. Now we're going to see what Sleepy Joe do. Okay? Is he going to, get involved and get that draft coming? Okay? Man, hey, all praises, man. Is Sleepy Joe going to get it started? Is Iran going to keep sending these drones with these missiles over to, Israel until it gets real, escalated? We're going to have to, wait and find out. Verse 5, and the water shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. So we know, a lot of these ports here in America is where, what? They get imports and exports. And we know that bridge up there in Baltimore, it got hit. That was I believe that was like one of the 8 major ports here in America, okay? And it was dried up for a while because it took them a week, and I don't know if they still got the bridge where they can get boats through it or cargoes going through it. So it says, the paper reads by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks, okay? That's all those cargo ships that's coming and going in these ports here in America. That's going to be gone, man. And another thing in the movie, the old guy, he got hit and there was no ambulance, no police. So these people were pretty much, monitoring themselves, okay? Now they had, I guess you could call them troops, as in like, I don't want to say marshal, but you can say marshal, but there was no presence of ambulance, okay? So 911 is going to be suspended. You got people breaking into your houses, you're going to have to defend for yourself. You're not going to be able to call 911. They're not going to pop up at your door. Okay? You get hit, you're not going to be able to call the ambulance. Okay? Hey, it's getting, you see it. Go check out that movie, man. When all hell breaks loose, you're going to be left to fend for yourself. Okay? And that's right where the devil wants you. So when he brings forth that mark, you're going to go down to Egypt. Isaiah 31. Woe to them that go down to Egypt. Okay? So it says, let's go down to 14. It says, Yahweh have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Right. And Egypt, like I said, is associated with America, okay? America is known as spiritual Egypt is known as America, and America is finished, man, as we know it. Go outside and look and see, because it ain't gonna look like that forever. Okay, so we're gonna take one major incident that kickstart everything. Okay, we got inflation on the rise. We got undocumented migrants that's taking work from the people here in America. You know, hey, this thing is primed for anything to fall at any given point. And like I said, there was no presence of ambulance throughout all these cities and towns that they went through. No presence of, the local police. None of that. It's like the purge, man. And like I said, when they went to that gas station, spoiler alert if you ain't seen it, they had two individuals hanging from the car wash, okay, because they had caught them squatting, trying to, squat, like, not squat like you do squats, but squatting like staying on the premises when they ain't got no business there. So those three guys with the guns caught them two squatters and tied them up, in the car wash, and they was getting ready to execute them, okay? So, hey, like I said, they was looking to pass a bill in Arizona that if you get caught trespassing, which squatting is just a form of trespassing, those ranchers, those farmers, they have the right to, execute on site. They put all the laws on books, so when this place breaks down, hey, it ain't gonna be no, I didn't know this was your place. No, you're gonna get one in the dome, man. Tied up. Okay, if they want to, preserve you and keep you for later on, if there's a scarcity of food because you can't go to another town, they're gonna keep you, and it's gonna be cannibalism gonna come. Okay? You got to be prepared for all this. Jacob's trouble is gonna be like a time that's never been seen before on the face of this earth, man. So it says, neither shall there be 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Right. This place ain't gonna have no work, man. In all the midst of all this chaos, you think he's gonna be working? Man, come on, man. Now they did have essential workers through, the 2020 campaign, the pandemic, but when this roll around, hey, if you don't have the correct credentials, meaning that mark, you ain't gonna be working. Okay, you're gonna have to take that mark in order to eat, in order to buy, in order to sell. Okay, you're not gonna be able to purchase nothing without that mark. But the elect, the Most High is gonna take care of you. Isaiah 65:13, my servant shall eat. Okay, that's why this is now the time to get your faith up. All right. So let's go to the Apocrypha and get a couple of precepts, and then we probably close out after that. All right, we in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and let's jump down to verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. We read that in Mark. It's going to be division. Okay, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and evading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So these governors, these elected mayors, they're not going to regard these people. The laws and bills, once all hell breaks loose, they're not going to regard the governors, the mayors of your towns and cities. It says what? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right. If you don't have the correct credentials, that mark, you're not going to be able to go into that city. You're going to starve. Okay. And it says that in 2nd Ezra 6, In 22, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Your Walmarts, your Krugers, your Targets, you know, your your fresh farms, your whatever stores you go to, they're gonna be found empty. You're gonna be desiring to go into another city to see if you can find food there or whatever you need. And you're not gonna be able to get into that town unless you have that mark. Okay? So it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. So all those convenience and amenities that you're used to, you ain't going to be able to get it. If your town is shut up and you can't get out and there's no trucks coming in to deliver, you going, hey, that's when cannibalism is going to come back, man. You're going to have people eating their own children. It's going to be wild out here, okay? So, 2nd Ezra 15, and what we at? Slakia. The end of 16, it says, in the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right? If you don't have that mark, you're going to have to stay in that town, that city where you at. Okay? And, hey, thug it out, as they say. All right? May the best man prevail. Hey, cannibalism is coming back, man. And you can't get out and you forced to stay in your city and town and you got to eat whatever you can find. Hey, just be prepared. We're going to read it. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. I believe that's Luke 21 and 26. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. That same person that you look to for the past 10, 15, 20 years, when all hell breaks loose, you could kiss that and throw that out the window, man. So much for hello, neighbor. Oh, man. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Okay? So if you got something that they want, they coming in there and getting it. It ain't no more hello, neighbor, how you doing? Is, hey, give it up or suffer the consequences. And we know what that sword is, the modern day firearm. Okay? So it says, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. They're going to take everything you got. Okay? Your neighbor, who you thought was your neighbor for the last 5, 10, 15 years, when all hell breaks loose, they can't leave out the city and they seeing you been, stacking up and getting little nicks and knacks here and there, and they know you got it, they coming to get it, okay? And they probably coming with some more of their people to come get it, okay? It says, verse 19, it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulations. It's going to be wild out here, man. Hey, it's going to be wild. Let's go there in Luke 21. This is Luke 21 and 26. It says, men's heart faileth them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Hey, once the Most High start to visit his place and start to turn things up and let the sword, which is Esau, Edom, get busy, it's going to be a different story, man. If you ain't part of the elect, hey, I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you. I know what to tell you, but hey, you're going to find out yourself, all right? So it says Luke 21:26, man's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Right, there ain't going to be no more mirth here in Babylon the Great. All that mirth is going to be taken out, all right? Once all hell breaks loose and Jacob's trouble, is in the midst, all that mirth going out, having a good time, eating out, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days a week, going out, all that. Hey, and you can feel the spirit of Egypt. You can feel the spirit of Egypt, which is America, turning. Okay, things ain't like they used to be. All right, although they trying to put up a facade, you can feel it, man. You can feel it in the air. The spirit of Egypt is changing, man. It's almost like it's getting ready. Like the Most High is getting ready to set this place down. Okay. So Luke 21:26, it says, men's hearts fell in them for fear. All right. And it tells us that in Isaiah the 47th chapter that he going to bring, Egypt down, America, Babylon the Great. He bringing this place down, It's prideful. This is Isaiah 47:1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, America. Okay, so the Most High finna come sit this place down, man. Sit on the ground. Whew. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All that, this is a God-fearing country. That's all out the window, man. This place you finna really see what this place was meant for, okay? This place was meant to be a altar for sacrifices, man. A lot of people gonna be sacrificed up into that ultimate sacrifice, which is gonna be those missiles, those ICBM missiles that's coming to set America on fire from sea to shining sea. Okay, it's gonna look like a lake of fire from up there, the chariots looking down, okay? For those of us who make it, all right? So it says Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right, this place is a wrap, man. Civil unrest, and then the ultimate judgment is going to be by the way of those, ICBM missiles, man. Jeremiah 50:14, okay, if I'm not mistaken. Array yourself all those with arrows, okay? Let's go there so I don't, butcher it. Jeremiah, because this place is finished, man. Babylon the Great, America is finished. And for those that are trying to continue to, build here, it's all in vain, man. This is Jeremiah 50, and let's just go straight to it. 14. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. So all the countries that's equipped with, missiles, put yourselves in array with Babylon the Great. Because like I said, Sleepy Joe, more times than none, he gonna get America to be drawn into that, skirmish right now between the Israelis and the Palestinians, which, led over to Iran. It says the least of the flock should draw them out. They're going to get America involved, okay? And these other countries, because Iran, is trying to join forces with BRIC. And we know once the Most High puts those hook in Gog and Magog, Russia, he going to turn back to that Cold War. Hey, Russia and China, they got the nuclear equipment to get it done, man. So it says what? Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh. Revelation 18, okay? Her sins have reached up into the heavens, okay? So the Most High is bringing judgment to her. And all those that, what does this say? Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh. And it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. So every country that has nuclear capability, put yourself in array. Surround yourself, make yourself known, put yourself in array, surround Babylon, and get ready to let go on her. Revelation 18. Double that cup, man. Double the cup, Bring it. Hey, bring it. Bring it. Revelation 18. Let's see. Revelation, Revelation 18:1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mighty with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen. Isaiah 47:1 is fallen and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Jeremiah 51:7, or 50:7, if I'm not mistaken. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Okay, it says, let's see if we can get to the point. Verse 8 says, this is it. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. So she going to get burned. Those missiles, line yourself up in array. We read that in Jeremiah, the what chapter? The 50th chapter and the, Salakia, the 14th verse. Jeremiah 50 and 14. That's what we read. Okay, put yourselves in array against Babylon. Okay, her sins has reached to heaven. Now, when you go to Jeremiah 51:7, it says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Right, and they're getting ready to repay her back. Okay. All those that have the capability to bend the bow. All right. So, coming out of Jacob's trouble, when this place is, really put up for that altar, it's going to be a wrap. Excuse me, Jeremiah, because that's loosely, or should I say that's what the movie Civil War, that's what it was, based on, Jacob's trouble. This place, collapsing so that they can bring forth that mark. Just as Jeremiah 7, it reads, At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right, speaking of the elect, okay? And like I said, the character Jesse, you can look at it as she represents the elect because she was, able to make it through all the way into the end, okay? And like I said, King David came from Jesse, okay? That was his father. And the elect is coming from the house of David, okay? So, we're going to go through some things as well, but the only thing that separates us from the 2/3 is that, we have the Most High, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, on our side, fighting for us. Ecclesiasticus 4, is it? And 28, it says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So we striving, man. We want the Lord to fight for us when, all hell breaks loose. Jacob's trouble, okay? Now this is Isaiah 24, is it? And 10, it says, the city of confusion is broken down. Speaking of Babylon, America, every house is shut up that no man may come in. Right. These towns, these houses, they're going to be shut up, man. You can't come in without the right, credentials. There is a crying for wine in the streets. People are going to want to know what is going on. Okay. But when they had the opportunity to find out what is going on and what's going to go on, they didn't. Seek ye Yahweh while he may be found. So it says, there is a cry for wine in the streets. They're going to want some knowledge, okay? It says, all joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone, right? This mirth, this spirit, you could feel it, man. It's getting ready to change. It's getting ready to be gone, okay? All that going out, you can feel it, man. It's coming, man. That's why we stand in this truth, man. We see it coming, okay? We feel it, all right? The signs are there, okay? Yahweh Shai said, look for those signs, okay? So that you don't be caught unaware, okay? Like that evil servant, all right? That's what we did a lesson on, on Saturday. Okay. What if some did not believe? Okay, going into that evil servant who wasn't, being on the lookout. Okay. So it says, there is crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Right. This mirth is getting ready to leave. Okay. And we can feel it right now. Okay. And the city is left desolate. In the city is left desolation. And the gate is smitten with destruction. This place is finished, man. Go check out that movie, If I haven't spoiled it for you, you just want to see it anyways, just to see what I'm talking about, go check it out. It's a pretty decent movie, man. All right? Babylon the Great is finished, man. It's finished, okay? Just a matter of time. All right? The Most High getting ready to come through here on a swift cloud, man. Take out this mirth and, hey, people ain't going to know what to do once all hell breaks loose, man. All right? So that was pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and close it out and wrap it up with 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, okay? Got to know what's going on. You go to a movie, even though you're going to enjoy it, you can still take away certain things from it. Okay? 2 Corinthians 13 and 8, if I'm not mistaken. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. All right? So although, Hollywood tried to superimpose some of his, hidden agendas, we was able to still extrapolate a good portion out of this movie. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, okay? And when all hell breaks loose, he's going to have the ultimate, the ultimate device ready. But what? 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, is it? For we are not ignorant of his devices. We already know what he's trying to set it up for, man. He's trying to set chaos to ensue so he can bring forth his mark, okay? 2 Corinthians, let's make sure I don't want to butcher it. 2 and 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? Plus we watching, okay? We watching, we seeing the signs, okay? We seeing the signs that Yahushua told us to look out for, so we'll know that he's coming, okay? No man know the hour, but through Yahushua telling us the signs to look out for, we know he's on his way back, man. We know Jacob's trouble is getting ready to show up too. Okay, you got to know prophecy, all right? Jacob's trouble, and then we getting up out of here. Yahushua coming back to pick us up, man. Getting in those chariots, okay? So, be sober. Be vigilant. You know what it is. Let's go there. Close out. Be sober. Be vigilant. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And with that being said, I pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the good Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.